Hello again everyone and welcome back to the channel. In today's video we are going to be making another well overdue outing in DCS. As you can see, we're going to be getting ourselves reacquainted here with the F5E, the aircraft sporting a beautiful albeit fictitious Royal Air Force 29 Squadron livery, and we're going to be taking our Tiger II out towards the target range today for a spot of dive bombing practice. It is going to be a full flight here in the F5E, so we'll start with the aircraft cold and dark on the ground at Batumi. We'll run through all of our startup checks. You can see we've got the aircraft here loaded up with 4 Mark 82s. So we'll head out to the range, we'll practice dropping those, we might carry out a few gun runs here as well, and then we'll return to base. It is worth noting that whilst I'm reasonably comfortable with flying the aircraft itself, I'm certainly not all that familiar with the military lingo and tactics associated with this sort of flying. It is something that I would like to learn more about, so if you do have any useful advice, please feel free to leave that down in the comment section below. As always, I do hope you enjoyed the video. If you do, please consider giving it a like and subscribing to the channel.
So here we are then in the cockpit of the F5E. We're on the ground at Batumi. It's pretty noisy outside at the moment, as you can hear. We've got a pair of F4s there just making their way out towards runway 31. And we've got our number 2 here as well, just off on the left. He's running through his startup. We've already connected the ground air supply to the jet, so we are good to run through our start checklists. We're going to be running through somewhat of an abbreviated startup procedure here, but again, as per the checklist. So the air supply has been connected, the battery master is selected on, left and right generators both selected on, and we'll do the same there for the left and the right fuel boost pumps. No external drop tanks fitted to the aircraft today, but as you can see we have fully fueled up the jet here for our sortie. The caution and warning panel, no lights illuminated there at the moment that we're not currently expecting to see. We'll cancel the master caution. And for the oxygen supply we'll set that through to on and normal flow for the time being. The external lights, the beacon can go on here ahead of the start. The exterior nav lights go through to bright. We've already contacted air traffic control, we are cleared for the start, and again we're going to be starting off that high pressure ground air. There goes the first of the F4s, just blasting off out towards the northwest. Sounds of DCS never failed to disappoint, and really looking forward to the F4 as well in the sim. Anyway, we'll contact the ground chief. Chief, you are cleared to pressurise. There goes the second F4. There we do have good rotation, we'll hit the left engine starter. We are up through 10% there on the M1, so the left throttle can go into the idle detent. And good light off, positive fuel flow. Monitoring that TGT as the engine spools up. Peaking there at around 725 degrees Celsius. Good start there on the left, the engine is stable. And again on the caution and warning panel we now see the left generator and the left fuel pressure low. Caution is extinguished. So same process on the right. Chief, you are cleared to pressurise. Once again, good rotation, hitting the right engine starter, above 10% there on the M1. Throttle into the idle detent. Good light off. Positive fuel flow. TGT peaking just below 750. And we are stable there on the right. So just the canopy caution to go, the canopy is still open at the moment of course. I'll have the chief now disconnect the ground air supply. Chief, disconnect ground air supply. Okay, so the ground air supply has been disconnected, chock's still in at the moment. Continuing on with the checks, the chaff and flare can stay off the sortie today. Pitch and yaw dampers can go on. Radar will leave off, again not needed for the flight. Speed brake switch is selected in, flaps set through to auto, just waiting there till we see flaps full, which we now have. According to the checklist we want to set the armament switches now. I'm not sure whether or not that's accurate. I would have thought we would have set those off the airfield. If anyone's aware of that, which I'm sure some of you will be, please do let me know, but we'll set those today inbound towards the training area. Takeoff speed bug is set, the altimeter will set through to elec, and we can set the QNH, today it's 3031. So we have 3031 set, that's giving us an aerodrome elevation around 30 feet, which is correct. Stand by artificial horizon, we can uncage, and checking that versus the primary. Takeoff trim, with our current weight and our current stores with the 4 Mark H2s, we're looking for a takeoff trim of 7 units up. So trim is set. HSI, showing a heading there of 210, 210 there on the compass. No need to set any course bar or heading bugs here today. Flight mode, again we'll set that once we're outbound towards the training area. The depression will set 80 mils. And we have 80 sets. For the TACAN, again not really going to need that for the flight today, we're going to be navigating visually, but we'll tune it up all the same. 16 X-ray for Batumi. We have 16 X-ray selected, we'll leave that off for now. RWR can go on, and we'll set that up in search mode. Pitot heat is selected on, we can close up the canopy. And canopy is closed and locked, the caution is out. IFF mode selector will set through to normal. And the air supply has been disconnected. We are now good for the taxi.
Mission number 20540, 1 by F35 Charlie. Sarah, block 16 to 18. 2 by GBU 32, instantaneous fusing. 4 by GBU 12, instantaneous fusing. Plus 00.
Okay, so we now have ourselves lined up here on runway 31. We've got our wingman there just off the right wing. Running through the before takeoff checks, we'll set the nose landing gear through to the extend position. As you can see, that's just going to raise the nose of the jet, give us a little bit more angle of attack here for the takeoff. Taxi and landing light can go on. The takeoff trim setting, again confirming we do have 7 units nose up. And for the flaps, we have flaps auto selected, flaps full indicated. There we are all set, we'll hold the aircraft on the brakes, coming through to full military power initially.
4 by GBU 12, instantaneous fusing. Plus 00.
The auxiliary intake doors are indicating open, which we're expecting to see. Power's set, off the brakes. Into the afterburner detent. And there go the burners. Wingman rolling there as well. Always forget just what an awesome sim DCS actually is. That is quite the sight. Very cool. They're looking to bring the nose wheel up at VR -10. Like our wingman there, just rotating now. He's lifted off. We'll start coming back on the stick. And we do have positive climb. We'll bring the gear up. Keep the nose down for now. Till we're up through 300 knots. You can see the wingman there just going straight overhead. So we're clear of him. We'll start our turn out towards the northeast. There's 300 knots, come out of the burners, back towards full military power. Just picking up the F5 there on the RWR. And we'll just continue our turn here, down towards the coast. There's our wingman, off our 5 o'clock position. So get there on the heading, we'll keep the speed above 300, climbing up to an altitude of 5,000 feet. Running through the after takeoff checks, the gear is up, lights are out, flaps are indicating auto. Landing taxi light can come off. We'll leave the beacon and the nav lights on for flight today since it's only a training sortie. And in terms of our fuel state, about 4,000 pounds on board the jet. We are showing left tank low there currently, which we're expecting to see. We'll go to left low on the auto balance switching. In theory, the wingman should be formating close in with us here, but that doesn't seem to work particularly well in the sim, so I think he's probably going to hold the station there out towards the southeast of us. Just come up through 4,000, we're going to be levelling off at 5. We can start getting the F5 figured here for the first of our runs. So firstly on the gun sight, we'll go through to manual. Already there again we have the depression pre-selected to 80 mils. For the weapons switching, on the bomb arm switch we'll come through to nose and tail. We're going to be dropping the left-hand outermost pylon first. And for the gun safety switch, we'll come through to guns, missile and camera. We may do a few gun runs here after we've dropped our Mark 82s. The external store switch will go through to bomb. Just levelling off at 5,000, we want the speed up at 400 knots, so we'll keep full military power for now. For our dive attacks today, dive's going to be initiated at 5,000 feet, 400 knots. Going to be a 30-degree dive angle. And again, we've got the gun sight there set to a depression of 80 mils. One last quick look out for our wingman. Again, he is holding station out towards the southeast. So the range just coming through our 11 o'clock. We want to wait there until we see it through our 10 o'clock position. Get there on the altitude, the speed just still creeping up. And 10 o'clock essentially there when the range comes through the windshield pillar. So happy there now with the positioning. We'll roll in at 30 degrees on the dive angle. But coming back off the power as we do so. A little bit early there on the dive. So just keeping the nose up momentarily. There's 1500, releasing the first of our Mark 82s. We're a little bit out to the left of the target there, not too bad, slightly long. We got a little bit inaccurate there in terms of our parameters. We dived a little bit early, so we were diving at 20 degrees initially. But again, not bad for a first attempt. We did at least get some splash damage on the target. So back up to 5,000 feet, 400 knots. We'll deselect the left outer pylon. And select the right outer. So just coming up on our altitude, fuel state, tanks are now almost balanced. We've got about 3,800 pounds now on board the jet. Good there in terms of the speed and the altitude. The F5 now is pretty unbalanced. We obviously just lost quite a bit of weight there on the left wing. And the aircraft does not handle particularly nicely in this condition, so this is probably going to be the hardest run of the lot. Ideally we'd probably be wanting to drop bombs here in pairs, but I thought we'd drop them individually just to give us 4 attempts on the target. Then we'll turn back in towards the range, just losing that little bit of excess altitude as we do so. Okay, good now on the altitude and speed. Just wait until we come into that 10 o'clock position. And rolling in once again. Slightly back off the throttles as we do so. There's our 30 degrees. Could put below the target at the moment. We'll go for the same target again. And releasing. Pulling away. Much better that time. Almost a direct hit. Yeah, much happier with that one. Still slightly off in terms of our parameters there, oscillating a little bit as we came onto target, but again that's due to the aircraft being out of balance. So deselecting the right outer, and we'll drop the left inner this time. It's 4,000 feet, good down the speed. Fuel state, around 3,800 pounds. And we can start turning back in towards the range again. Doesn't say much, happy with that dive overall. This one should be a little bit easier. We're back in balance again now. There we are, just a little bit low on the altitude. So just wait until we come into the 10 o'clock position. We'll just fly slightly further this time. We've got the target sighted up at our 10 o'clock. And rolling in. It's 30 degrees. So Pippa just below the target. Lighting not making this one particularly easy. There goes the Mark H2. Break off to the left. A little bit of splash damage, slightly long on that one. Deselecting the left inner, last one now, the right inner. Fuel state's still good, 400 knots, 3,000 feet. Really like to get another direct hit here just to finish up the run. See how we go. Obviously the more accurate, again, that we can be here with our dive parameters, the more likely we are to hit the target, at least in theory. There's 5,000 feet, just a little bit of excess speed, but we'll burn that off as we bank the aircraft back round. Yeah, just the one Mark H2 now out on the right pylon. And it's probably a poor choice here really coming back in from the east. The sun behind us, it does make visualising the target a little bit trickier. So speed and altitude are good. Last roll in. Off the throttles, it's 30 degrees. And releasing. Bank off to the right. I think that was a pretty good one overall. And there you go, spot on. Very happy with that actually. Very satisfying feeling I have to say, nailing that. So we'll leave the afterburners in, we'll just do a couple of gun runs before we head back towards Batumi. 400 knots, got plenty of fuel in hand. Still about 3,600 pounds on board. We'll just leave the afterburners in, we'll crank back round. Going to AA2 on the gun site here for our run. And we're not going to try anything too realistic here, we're just going to do some low level runs. Take out a couple of the targets, have some fun. So coming back round, looks like we've got a target just off the nose. They're prepping the guns here for the run. Walking the Pippa through him. Right through 300 knots. See there the flaps and the slats just starting to auto extend. Fuel state's still good, down to nearly 2,400 pounds now, but plenty of fuel to get us home. The wingman there, somewhere out behind us in our 6 o'clock position based off the RWR. And once again we'll pull some G here as we come around the corner. A bit of buffeting as we do so. One more run and then we'll head back home. Off the afterburners. Losing visual with our targets here. Go for the one here down at the end of the runway. Can't help myself, we're going to have to do one more here, it's just too much fun to pass up. So we've got another target there down at the threshold. Just off of being the perimeter track, we'll go for him. Down to about 2,200 pounds now. Off the afterburners, we'll bleed off some speed here as we come around the turn. At least this target's going to be nice and easy to spot with that perimeter track. You can already see him. So full afterburner again. So we'll come out of the burners, actually around 90% now on the M1s. We'll head out towards the coastline. And we'll continue to track the coast here around 1500 feet. Get the aircraft safe again, so gun sight can go through to the off position. In terms of our weapon switching, deselect the right inner pylon. Obviously we've dropped all of our Mark 82s, but we'll go back to safe. And the gun safety switch, cage up once again. The external store safety switch can go back to the safe position. And everything looks good now, so we'll just continue to track inbound along the coast towards Batumi.
Mr. 6 Regents for 64, flying to F35, so we're rejoined. We're looking for a point out to Gucci 40, he's still airborne.
South, you got a radar on the tanker.
Tanker 24432, 20,000.
So we're just going to track the coast. We've completely lost our wingman at this point. He obviously didn't fancy tagging along for the journey, but we're going to head back in towards Batumi. We're going to make a straight approach onto the reciprocal runway this time. So runway 13. Fuel state tanks are pretty evenly balanced now, coming up at about 2,600 pounds for the jet. The landing checks, the master arm is selected off. External lights, we'll take the landing lights on once again. We'll hold the gear and flaps for now. Drag chute will take, of course, on landing. And again, the fuel state checked. So just coming around the headland here, out towards the northwest. Stay clear of the built-up areas for now, try not to annoy the locals. And I'm sure typically here it would be much more reasonable to make a run and break off the runway, but again, we're just going to make a straight approach. Keep high speed for now, we'll try and bleed off all that speed last minute. So 350 knots here, 2,000 feet. Just coming visual with the runway. I'm actually picking up the wingman there on the RWR at the moment. Okay, so approaching the field, we'll take the speed brake. Moving off that speed, approaching 300 knots. Just starting to trim here as well as we lose the airspeed, 1,500 feet. Flaps in auto, so they'll take care of themselves, just waiting here on the gear. Okay, speed's good, we'll take the gear down. And we're just going to bleed off the rest of this airspeed, pulling some G here as we come around the turn. There's 3 greens. 4 whites on the PAPI at the moment. So just coming onto our AOA. And again, 3 greens, flaps full. Slightly overshot the turn there. Off the power. So it's going to be a slightly long landing, fairly short runway here at Batumi as well, so we'll take the drag chute as soon as we touch down. There's the drag chute.
Sounds good.
Now we'll just wait until we've got down to a reasonable pace. We'll cut the chute. And we can vacate off to the left. So vacating off to the left onto taxiway Alpha, we'll just get the canopy opened up again so we can hear the wonderful sounds of the F5. Flaps can come up. According to the checklist, we want to leave the speed brake out for now, which is interesting. Master caution there, that just relates to the canopy. Also expecting to see that. We'll go and park up in our previous parking positions. And just as we come around the corner here, we'll get the landing lights off. RWR can come off as well. And same there for the IFF. All clear on the right. Flaps are indicating up. Got our crew chief there off the nose. Onto the brakes, getting the F5 slowed down. And just holding the aircraft on the brakes here until the chocks are in position. The shutdown checks, speed brake is selected in, flaps are selected up, landing taxi light is selected off. We can cut the throttle, so we'll shut the right engine down first. Good run down there on the right, we'll do the same on the left. And two good shutdowns, things getting all that much quieter. UHF radio and the TACAN both selected off. RWR is selected off. Heater heat is selected off. Fuel boost pumps are off. Aeronotion switches both selected off. Canopy is open. IFF mode is set to off. External lights, we can now take the beacon off. And lastly we'll take the battery. And that is the shutdown checklist complete.
So there you go guys, I do hope you enjoyed our outing in the F5E and our return to DCS. From my side of things, it was great getting back into the sim once again. Superb flight modelling and visual effects, and it's great as well to have a sim which has such consistently deep and interesting modules available to fly. I would love to spend more time with the sim. Again, really the only thing holding me back in terms of creating more content within DCS is my lack of knowledge when it comes to military flying. It would be absolutely brilliant if I can learn a little bit more about that alongside these videos. So once again, if anybody has any constructive criticism or feedback, specifically with regards to example callouts or the appropriate time to get the weapons armed up on a flight, then certainly please do leave that sort of feedback down in the comment section below. I think I put in a decent effort when it came to the dive bombing itself, but I would love to be able to flesh out these videos with the correct procedures, the correct terminology, the correct callouts. So once again, that is where I'd be looking for some help from all of you. Anyway, I'll try and cut down on the length of intermission for DCS videos here on the channel. I'm certainly very much looking forward to the F4 arriving within the sim, so we'll certainly be covering that. For now though, once again, I do hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, then please consider giving it a like. If you want to see more content from the channel, then please consider subscribing as well. If you'd like to help support the channel, you can do so by becoming a channel member or patron. And as always, a very big thank you to my channel members and patrons for all of your support. I do hope that all of you are having a great day wherever you are. Take really good care, and I will see you all again soon.